Hi, I'm Damien. I'm 36 years old, and this is my RPG collection. Got it down here in the basement, which is a play area and exercise area for me and the kids both. But I took some time out and laid out my entire RPG collection. So we got a little overview here. Uh, yeah, I'm 36. I have been playing and loving games most of my life since I think the first one I ever played was Super Mario Brothers 3. My dad went and bought it for me, and then Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I got a Nintendo 64. And then from there, I really enjoyed video games, starting with the N64 era. Before that, right, like NES and Sega, they were like toys, right? Like you go to somebody's house and they have a toy. It's like, oh man, right? The N64 was just on another level. But anyways, so up here's Pokemon. Um, these that is my original yellow. Although I did have to buy a new case. This is a reprint case and a reprint label. I lost the original cardboard packaging, and then these two are my wives. The gold and silver were both from my wife. Um, I went and bought Pearl. There, I took a long break from Pokemon, then I bought Pearl for Black Friday sale for Nintendo DS, and that started me on a little streak of getting back into Pokemon. And then in 2019, I was slightly underemployed, and I bought Soul Silver to bide my time while I filled out some job applications. And from there, I've been on sort of a on and off. So about 6 years now, I've been playing the Pokemon games mostly as they came out. Um, I played Diamond. I went back and played Diamond. I played White and White 2. I played X and Y. I started to play Alpha Sapphire. I got a couple gym badges. I didn't get too far. I never started Alpha Ruby. I played the hell out of Ultra Moon. Actually, I played Soul Silver. And then I went and I bought Ultra Moon. It was about a year old at that time, too, so that was good. Um, got a lot of Pokemon out of that one. It was good. And then the Nintendo Switch games, I have enjoyed all these. I thought Shining Pearl was kind of underwhelming. I think that's the consensus. Most people say Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I got a Switch kind of late. It was a couple years old by the time I got a Switch. So Let's Go Eevee was old at that time, but I went back and I played it. I didn't beat it, but it was fun. Violet was okay. Sword, I played a ton. Arceus, I love. I think Arceus is my favorite Pokemon game. It's so much fun. Pokemon Snap, I played that. We got married in 2017, and that was one of the first games we played and really enjoyed as a couple. So that one's really special to me. Castlevania, sort of a stretch on the RPG genre, but a lot of them do have some classic leveling designs. I played this one. I played Castlevania 64 as a rental when I was 10, and it scarred me. I didn't go back and play it until summer of 2022 or 23. I think I went back and rolled credits on it. Uh, I think it ages pretty well. I think it's an enjoyable amount of jank. Amount of jank. Legacy of Darkness is good too. I went back and I enjoyed that story. Circle of the Moon. My mom surprised me with this. This is the original cardboard case. My mom surprised me with this and my Game Boy Advance. Before we took a long car ride on my first vacation, I was 11 years old, and my mom surprised me with Castlevania and a Game Boy Advance for a big long car ride for my first vacation to the beach. It was a big surprise. I did go back and buy these in 2017 or 2018, so that was a long stretch between playing the first of the trilogy and then the last two. Although I always wanted to, so it took a long time. Shortly thereafter, I played all three DS games in a row in about the span of about a year or two. These two, these should be reverse order, some semblance. And then I bought these. I never got around to play them, but these two are things that I'm worried. I go to play them, and then I think, oh man, they're gonna re-release them very soon. They're gonna do a remaster of these pretty soon. So I have like remaster jitters. I have many remaster jitters on things in this room, but these are the biggest remaster jitters I think that I have. Castlevania collection. I try to not abuse the save scumming, but I've gone back and I played a lot of those. I think I beat everything on Anniversary Collection. Oh, you know what? I didn't play the Game Boy. No, I did play the Game Boy games. I didn't play Simon's Quest. Is the one I didn't play. Um, but then some of those I played on Nintendo eShop, the 3DS eShop too. The Advanced Collection, of course, I loved. Circle of the Moon. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It doesn't age super well, but it's got a lasting aesthetic and a lot of sentimental value for me. These right, Symphony of the Night. I played on PS1. Oh man, I should have got it out. I forgot to get Symphony of the Night out, but I have it. I played it a couple years after it came out. PS2 was out already at that time, but I went back and I played it. Um, Rondo of the Blood. It's really hard. I got to some kind of shipyard level, and I just had to call it in. Even with Maria, I got there with Richter, but even with Maria, it was too challenging, and I called it quits. Lords of Shadow. I played this when it came out. Like it was one of the few games that I bought new at that time of my life, and I really enjoyed it. But the sequel kind of came and went when I was on a poor streak. Wasn't making a lot of money for a couple years. So the sequel kind of came and went, and I totally missed it, uh, which makes me sad. But I don't think anything else has come from there since. Fire Emblem. So I somewhat recently, got into Fire Emblem. I got my 3DS after I got my first city job, making some decent money for the first time in my life, and I got a 3DS to play Majora's Mask, and then Birthright came out right afterward, and that was my first Fire Emblem game, and it was insanely difficult, but insanely addicting. My 3DS hour counter is over 500 hours for this trilogy, the Birthright, Conquest, and Revelations Continuum, over 500 hours. So I really enjoyed that. It took a lot of getting used to, and a lot of learning. I went back and played Awakening one time a couple years ago, maybe during the pandemic lockdown. I think I played Awakening. Um, Echoes I loved. Oh man, what a good story! That's such a good story. I thought the gameplay was kind of shallow coming out of these two absolute gems, but it was still a lot of fun to play and a really good story, really good music. I always go back and listen to those, the songs from Fire Emblem Echoes on YouTube playlist. And then I went back and I bought it. I bought this for like $100, and then I had it reprinted because it was like rare and hard to find for a couple years. But then this one was new at a secondhand store, but it still had the original pricing, so I bought it sealed for $39.99, and then they happened with this one too, $39.99. Excuse me. So I have those sealed by a stroke of luck. This one I bought with the packaging off Fluky Games. I didn't play it on DS though. I did play it on Wii U eShop. Same thing with this one. I bought it. This is a reprint and a repackage. Um, but I played these two on Wii U eShop. Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. I spent a lot of money on to play, but I spent a lot of money to acquire those and never played them. But I do like the characters from how they appeared in Fire Emblem Engage. This is my GOAT right here. This is my greatest of all time. This is my favorite game of all time. I played it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. I don't miss a year. Last year, I missed a year. I was very busy last year. So I did miss my summer front porch playthrough of Fire Emblem Three Houses. Warriors played and enjoyed. Three Hopes, I got some distance into it, but didn't manage to close it out for whatever reason. Life got in the way. Fire Emblem Engage, I played once and loved once. I want to go back to it. I did restart it and finish the I did finish the DLC on Fire Emblem Engage though. It didn't really thrill me, but I did enjoy all the DLC characters with their bracelets instead of the rings. But I didn't really enjoy the second dragon mission or whatever that was. Um, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I bought this just because I like Fire Emblem and thought I might get around to it someday, but I never did. I bought it on the cheap. I can't believe how cheap it was. $20 I bought it. X-Men Legends. So I played this originally on GameCube a long time ago when it first came out. I got it for Christmas. It was a Christmas present. Played it and loved it. I never played an isometric game. I played Diablo as a kid, but I didn't really understand it, so I didn't get very far. I didn't get much out of it. But this came out, X-Men Legends came out when I was, I don't know, probably 14 or 15, and I played it and I really enjoyed it. And I don't really like X-Men that much, but I knew the characters and I'd seen some of the cartoon, so I enjoyed it a lot. Traded it in a million years ago, of course, and then rebought it somewhat recently. Would like to get around to X-Men Legends 2 eventually, but I did go back and play Ultimate Alliance from beginning to end. I played this on 360. I don't know where my 360 copy is of Ultimate Alliance, but I played it with my buddies on 360 back when Xbox Live was new and poppin'. There's like a million different versions of this game. So if you want to get Ultimate Alliance, do your research. They're mostly not very expensive. But there's a lot of different versions of it out there, and they all have like different characters. It's chaos. I did start Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 over the summer. I don't know how I got this copy. I don't know how I got this copy on 360. I didn't know I had it until I went looking around my games just a couple hours ago to make this video. So I never played it. I don't know how I got it. I hope it doesn't belong to somebody else, and maybe they left it at my house a million years ago or something. I did start Ultimate Alliance 2 over the summer. I got pretty far into it. Hard to get around to it, though. And then Ultimate Alliance 3. I was waiting years and years for this to show up at my local GameStop, and it did just a couple weeks ago, so I picked it up. It's still like full price. But it was worth it. I wasn't going to play it right away anyways, so it was worth it to wait. So this green sticker. So the place where I buy games at the exchange, it has these white stickers. You'll see these white stickers on a lot of my games. But this green sticker is from a video game shop where I'm from in DuBois, Pennsylvania. It's not around anymore. So I or somebody else bought Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 for this price. But then this I bought just over the summer here, but it had this sticker on there. So this game started in DuBois and was traded in DuBois and was purchased in DuBois and made its way to Pittsburgh somehow, where I got it at the exchange. So sadly, it didn't have any kind of receipt or like tracking on the inside. There's my cheat sheet for the abilities, but some of these games have a receipt on the inside. You can see sort of its like video game archaeology. Sadly, that one didn't have it, but that's something I like to do with used games. All right, here's Zelda. I'm a pretty big Zelda. I'm not a huge Zelda fan, but I do love Zelda. This was sadly part of the great Nintendo 64 mistake of 2002 when I traded in I sold almost all my Nintendo 64 games at a yard sale. Oh, I bought like a skateboard and I don't know, like a Steelers jacket or something with it. Worst mistake, well, second worst mistake of my life. But I repurchased Legend of Zelda, and this is the kind that has I repurchased Ocarina of Time. I paid money to a printer on Etsy to reprint the booklet, and then I went and got the kind that has Ganondorf's Red Blood. So I got Ganondorf's Red Blood version 2. I played that again, for the millionth time. I think last summer. I got to the Fire Temple of Master Quest, and I don't think I ever got further than the Fire Temple in Master Quest. Wind Waker, I played when it came out. I was in ninth grade. It always reminds me of my kid brother being born because my mom had to go. They had a planned delivery, a planned C-section, so they went and she spent a couple days in the hospital, and I went and hung out with my grandma for a couple days. Hooked up the GameCube on her old TV in the back room and played Zelda Wind Waker nonstop for a couple days. So that always reminds me of my kid brother being born. Twilight Princess, I do like reprints and stuff. I kind of stagger them this way, you'll see. Twilight Princess, so this game always reminds me of my senior year of college. I just desperately wanted to play this game. It was 2011, and I had never played it, so I saved up my crummy $8.65 an hour food service job. I walked to Best Buy in the snow, and I bought... No, not Best Buy. GameStop. I went to GameStop in State College, Pennsylvania. Walked there in the snow. Came home with this, and I think Mad World, which I've since traded in. Love this. Love this game. I did go back and replay it in 2013 or 2014. I bought the Wii U version a couple years ago. I never got around to it, though. Skyward Sword I love. I'm a Skyward Sword defender. I think it's the best motion control game of all time. I think it's really set the standard. And then the Wii remake also the Switch remake is good. The CD that comes with it, I listen to it a lot in my 2008 Nissan Altima. It always reminds me of driving around in my Altima listening to Zelda music. I think Skyward Sword is state-of-the-art for motion control. And it's just a really enjoyable game otherwise. Hyrule Warriors, I'm not a Hyrule Warriors defender. I probably spent 100 hours that I didn't really enjoy all that much on it. I will do the grind in a game, but I think that there should be... I just didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze, and I didn't enjoy the core gameplay enough to do the grind. I don't know why I played it so much. I wish I hadn't played Hyrule Warriors so much, but I played it a lot. Minish Cap, I actually played most of this on Wii U eShop, but I never finished it. This is a reprint box too. I bought the loose game. This was a loose game, and this was a loose game. I bought replacement cases and then new prints for the labels. This, of course, is original packaging, complete in box. Come on. Man, these things jam. Complete in box. I got that one. I think that I like the touchscreen controls for these games more in theory than in practice. I just didn't like having my hand in front of the action, right? Like, you have a big stupid hand right in front of all the action. When you use a touchscreen for a lot of the DS games, there's still a lot of action happening on the top screen. But, so you use your touchscreen for like maps and item management and stuff. But to do all your action on the screen that you're touching is just very distracting. I beat them both. I enjoyed Phantom Hourglass. I didn't really like Spirit Tracks. I thought Spirit Track was very tedious. Now that I'm talking about it. Just navigating the open world in that train, and you're just constantly being stalked and harassed by those evil trains was not fun. I bought the Game & Watch. Whatever. So when you start making money, you don't know when to cut yourself off. Whatever, bought this, played it a million times. Link Between Worlds is awesome and underrated. I mean, I know that like the true Zelda fans love it, but I think everybody should love it. Majora's Mask. It was like late 2000s when sort of like the Majora's Mask renaissance was kicking off, and I played the Nintendo 64 original version, which I traded in, or I sold at that part of my stupid yard sale thing a long time ago. I had the holographic tape and everything. And then, so what, I didn't play it for 10 years. I played it on the Nintendo Wii, on the eShop. Enjoyed it whenever I was in college, and then I got this as part of my... when I bought my 3DS, I think I bought this with it. This might have been the only game I bought with it. Never played Triforce Heroes. I guess I just bought it to have a slot. Okay, so I bought this sealed because I knew I was gonna get a Switch. I was like, okay, I'll get a Nintendo Switch eventually. So, but I bought the Wii U version sealed, and then I bought the Switch version, but I didn't get a Switch for like another year or two. So I had both of these just sitting on my shelf for a long time. Tears of the Kingdom. I know that millions of people have played it, and it's very divisive. I think it's one of the greatest of all time. I think even for all the hype and appreciation it has, I think it's underrated. Just for how expressive and creative people can be with it. Some of these, like YouTube and Instagram clips of people doing like the most insane builds, right? The meme ability of this game is off the charts. I think it'll have a very, very long cultural impact life. Link's Awakening, I played the not the original, but I played the original version on 3DS and beat it. I thought it was very challenging. Echoes of Wisdom, we played this a couple weeks ago. We finished this one, and it was a lot of fun. This one was a lot of fun. Very clever game design going on in there, and just very pleasant. Just very pleasant to play. Age of Calamity, I played a lot. It wasn't as much of a terrible grind as Hyrule Warriors was, and there was a good story, a good enough story. And then the Skyward Sword thing, of course. This is like my number 2 greatest of all time Zelda game, I think, next to Tears of the Kingdom. The Skyward Sword HD for Switch. I would recommend this to anybody. All right, next down here I have my From Software games. Oh man, I have Dark Souls on Xbox 360 too. Hang on. Man, I can't find my Xbox 360 version of Dark Souls. That makes me mad. But Dark Souls always reminds me of my one friend was trying to get me into it when it was really, really popular and people were like streaming their reactions to it on Twitch a long time ago. So he bought it for me. He spent like $60 of underemployed college kid money and bought it for me. And I've always treasured Dark Souls. And man, I can't find that version of it. But anyways, yeah, it always reminds me of my dad died. He got me that game for Christmas as a gift, and then my dad died right after Christmas, and I had a job, but it wasn't a good job, so I would just come home and play Dark Souls in my childhood bedroom, playing Dark Souls, making $9 an hour after college. So I do like Dark Souls. I have a great appreciation for it. I have the remastered version. I never got around to playing it yet. It is kind of hard for me to revisit it for that reason. Just all of the environments remind me of that time of my life, which was not good for many reasons. Demon Souls, I went back. I didn't really. This game was good, but the RNG on it was the RNG for the loot drops that you needed to upgrade your weapons was pretty intimidating, especially if you were going for trophies. Which I sometimes I go for trophies. If it's a game I really like, I'll go for trophies. I did not like this game enough to go for all the trophies, but I did do 2 playthroughs on it. The world tendency thing was crazy and not very transparent, and I didn't like it. Dark Souls 2. When I played Dark Souls 2, my life was awesome. Actually, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was having a lot of fun, and I had a decent job. So Dark Souls 2, I was doing a lot of bonfire aesthetics. I was out there helping you guys beat that scorpion woman who dug underneath the sand with her 2 scorpion tails. I was just like, before there was the guy doing Let Me Solo Her, there was me at the scorpion queen boss woman. I just hung out there for like an entire month. Love Dark Souls 2. Played it a couple times over. Bloodborne. I like Bloodborne. One of the first games I got when I got my PS4. Man, I got my PS4 with this Screamin' Dell deal. They were still like $400, but if you had to spend $500, but you got all this gear with it, it was amazing. It was an amazing deal. But Bloodborne was one of the first games I got. The Dark Souls 3, man, reminds me of working at the bank. First time moving to the city, working at the bank. Sekiro, man, I love this game. I love this game so much. I found this canvas print at the secondhand store. If you can see that, I hung it up over there. It's not even labeled. Like there's no label to know what this is or that it's a video game or anything. But I saw it at the secondhand store, this canvas print, and I bought it for like $2, and now it's in my house. Oh, but Sekiro, man, Sekiro, I I literally almost died at that monk fight in front of my family, in front of my 1 year old and my wife. I tried it so many times trying to beat the monk fight on the bridge, the true monk battle before you go into like the heaven kingdom or whatever with the snake people. That monk battle, I literally almost died of a heart attack the time that I beat him. Uh, this game's crazy. I gave up on it and I came back to it a month later because I played all the FromSoft games and I enjoyed them all many times over, most of them. I was like, oh, I can't. I will not be defeated by Sekiro. Eventually, I came back. I beat Sekiro. I got the platinum. I beat it like 6 times. I did New Game Plus so many times. Just I ended up falling in love with it. It's such a good game. Oh my gosh. I was triple stuck in it though. There's the shinobi hunter and then the drunkard and then something else, maybe like the butterfly lady. But I was stuck on three. It's somewhat open worlded, so I was stuck on 3 different bosses at one point, and I couldn't beat any of them. And I put it down, and I played Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands for like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh man, I got to go back and play Sekiro. I got to give it another try. And it clicked. As soon as it clicked, I was loving it, and I played it for like 6 months straight. I didn't put it down for like 6 months. Lies of P. I like this a lot more. I beat it. I like it a lot more in theory than in execution. I thought that the parry window, like I became a master of parrying at Sekiro. Well, not a master, but I became very, very good at parrying in Sekiro. And then the Lies of P parry window never, ever, ever clicked for me. So I struggled my whole way through this game. I didn't think it was a lot of fun, and I thought that the attack windows were just too Dark Soulsy. Like when you're playing Dark Souls the first time, you're like, oh, the attacks, they're hanging up on them. They're like these big wind-ups, right? But it was just so much pattern memorization in this game. And it had a lot of good going for it, like the weapon customization and mixing and matching and stuff like that. I thought the aesthetics were so good. I thought the theme was so cool. I thought the story was good. I liked it all except playing it, which it pains me to say that, but I liked everything about this game except playing it. All right, next down here, this is like Squaresoft adjacent games. Chrono Trigger, I bought. Oh, I bought it. Second hand and bought the replacement case. The World Ends With You. So I bought my 3D, or I bought my original DS, and I bought this, and then Pokemon Pearl that we were talking about earlier. Never beat it. Played it a lot. Never beat it. Played it on the bus in college a lot. Sea of Stars, got the 8-bit, I am 8-bit edition, haven't started it. Octopath Traveler, played it, loved it. Did I beat the ultimate? I know I beat it. I think I beat the ultimate end boss too, like some big, like giant living dumpster or something, like some crazy, disgusting thing. I think I went back and beat the ultimate boss. I didn't know there was an ultimate boss. I think I went back and beat it. It's been a couple years. Octopath Traveler 2, would love to start it someday. Triangle Strategy, would love to start it someday. Unicorn Overlord, man, I love this game. This game is so unique. It's all like very, very intense planning. So I played it on hard mode, and even on hard mode, it was a little bit too easy to cheese the weapon or the battle forecast. So it was even easy on hard, I think. I really didn't game over that much, even on hard. But the story was good. The graphics are great. I haven't played too many Atlas games, so this was like all very novel to me. But I love playing this on my Switch. I love playing it on the front porch. I love playing it in the backyard. It's awesome. Xenosaga. Oh yeah, look at that. I bought that for $6. I don't think it's $6 anymore. But anyways, I'd love to start this someday too. Well, that's another one I have remastered jitters on. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play Xenosaga on PS2. I'm gonna start playing, and then they're gonna remaster it. I've played 3. I'm a big RPG fan, but I only have 3 Bethesda games to my credit. Oblivion, man, we played the heck out of this game. That's crazy. This reminds me, we playing tennis my junior year. I was on tennis team, right? Look at that EB Games. Look at that EB Games receipt. Look at that. 218. Oh, I canceled Battlefield 2 and I put $46 down on Oblivion. That's cool. EB Games, oh boy. But man, this game came out. We were all so hyped for it on the tennis team. So yeah, junior year, we were playing tennis. Go to school, play tennis for an hour or two. Go home and play Oblivion. Man, I love this game. And then we were just memeing about it. We were joining all the guilds and stuff. I really didn't know how to play this game, so I thought that Thieves Guild was the game. I thought that it was like the thief simulator. I didn't know there were other guilds for like weeks. So I looted this entire continent and I sold it to my fence in the Imperial City. Your little fence man that you sell all your stolen goods to. I looted this entire continent clean. Nobody had anything left. I didn't even know about Oblivion Gates. I thought Thieves Guild was the game. I didn't know how to play these games back then. But I had a lot of fun. Whatever and then you get the Gray Fox mask. Or is his name Gray Fox? Whatever his name is, the Gray mask. You get the Gray mask, and then suddenly it doesn't matter what you do because they just blame the Gray mask for everything. Take the Gray mask off, and you're invincible. You're innocent. Man, this game was crazy. Alright. Alright, Fallout 3. I'll close that later. Fallout 3, this was an RPG that I played when it came out. I remember I brought it back to my college dorm. That was my sophomore year, and I was like, we were playing Call of Duty a lot, right? And we were playing Gears of War a lot. I was like, bro, you gotta check out my roommate. We were really good friends. Fallout 3, man. You got to check this game out. And we went there, and I was doing the Mr. Tenpenny mission. And something I've never seen online. I might be one of only a few people to ever see this, but Mr. Tenpenny and his manservant, they get into bed together as NPCs, and they sleep in the same bed. I don't know if they're just co-sleeping or if there's more going on there, but I've never seen it. I've done Google searching on it. I've never seen anybody talking about Mr. Tenpenny and his little manservant. But that's something we saw, and it was crazy. Yeah, that game was fun. Fallout 4, man, so this one's special to me because it came out right after I met the woman that I would marry, my wife, my now wife, but this came out, and this was like one of the first gifts she ever bought for me. So for Christmas, she bought me this game, and then a Queens of the Stone Age album, my favorite band. So I have a lot of sentimental value attached to not only this game, but like this exact artifact. Oh, damn. Big memories. Oh, speaking of wife, we tried playing, we play a lot of games together. Me and the wife. We play a lot of games together. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. She likes stories and she likes exploring, but she doesn't like fighting. There was too much fighting in this for her. And looking back on it, I didn't think there was that much fighting because I was going straight out of Call of Duty into Mass Effect. So to me, that was like a mild violence game. But for her, the original Mass Effect was like many, many corridors of blasting aliens, and she didn't like it. I was like, darling, let me shoot all the aliens. But it was just too much watching me shoot aliens for her. So sadly, we did not get to enjoy this epic trilogy as a couple. I did enjoy Mass Effect 1 many, many times. So here's, for some reason, I have this sticky note on it from, I don't know what this means. Hawking Ada, that's one of the systems in there. I don't know, Armstrong? I don't know. From when I was at Penn State. So, yeah, played that a long time ago. Played that many times. many, many times. Loved it. This was another. So the same person who bought me Dark Souls for a Christmas present in 2011 bought me Mass Effect as a present in 2008. It was not new, but it was 2008. Oh, Mass Effect 2. Oh, man. Yeah, so Mass Effect 1, I played it like all summer. I played it over and over again all summer. And then Mass Effect 2, just in time to get Mass Effect 2. I played this game twice. It was amazing. I read all the novels. I read the two novels leading up to this one, and then I read the third novel before the third game came out. I was totally into Mass Effect. It was so epic. I loved it so much. I had a big theory. Now, I only played Mass Effect 3 once. I got to the credits, and I had like kind of the same reaction as anybody else. However, I have never gone back and played the addendum to it, the downloadable story content for whenever you beat it. So I had like this old blog and YouTube channel where I was like explaining the actual true meaning of the ending like a madman. And then people were reacting to the addendum story content, and I never went back and played it because it totally unraveled my own little pet theory about Mass Effect 3. So I don't know, maybe I'll come back and play Legendary Edition by myself someday, but I played Mass Effect 3. I was very up on the lore whatever 15 years ago. Um oh man. I just remember there was the multiplayer missions. The multiplayer missions in Mass Effect 3, and I got to 100% galactic readiness with one of my friends, and he died a couple years ago. Shit. So, yeah, he died a couple years ago. And it's just, my whole life is tied up in these video games. Every single one of these games, I look at them and it reminds me of something. I can remember who I was with and what I was doing and what my situation was in that life at that point in life. Mass Effect 3, I played it non-stop for a month with one of my friends from high school. He was in the army, I was home from college. Played it non-stop. And he died a couple years ago. Damn. All right, I'm back. Dishonored. I had a brief PC gaming phase. I played Dishonored 1 on PC. I played Dishonored 2. I got to the Clockwork Mansion, which was incredible. I was being whatever his name is, the super crypto knight. I got to the Clockwork Mansion, which was awesome. But then I don't know. I got like hard. I like sold the wrong piece of equipment, and it ended up messing up my build, and I never came back to it. Destiny 2, man, I wish I would have kept playing Destiny 2, but I was not able to not play it obsessively. I had to play it with OCD or not play it at all, and I chose to not play it at all. I wish a whole bunch of my friends were playing it a lot. I wish I could have gone back and played it without obsessive compulsive disorder. But if I have to choose between not playing it and playing with obsessive compulsive disorder, I'll choose not playing it because I was playing it to the point that it was not fun and I was not enjoying it. Immortal of Avium, man, I got this. I bought my Spider-Man 2 PlayStation 5, and I've been waiting to play this game. So I played it, and it was epic, and I loved it. I was so sad to hear that it's not getting a sequel because this concept was 20 years overdue, right? Call of Duty, but you're a wizard. And it actually had some really cool Metroidvania, sort of like first-person Metroid Prime type of stuff going on, too, with environmental puzzles. Don't sleep on this one. This game is a lot of fun. There's like some cringe, like, oh, bro, I'm like the bro wizard, right? There's like some cringe stuff, but it was so much fun. I love that game. I'll play it again probably on super hard mode or whatever later. All right, look at this. Got this on my 3DS. Loved it. Played it all summer long. One summer in my little rectangle shaped apartment in Pittsburgh. Xenoblade Chronicles X. So they're doing the remaster, and they actually are addressing the thing that held me back from enjoying this. I got maybe 10 hours into this, and I liked everything about it except the font. Man, you're playing this very numbers and information intense RPG, and like the font, the text on the screen is impossible to read. I was even playing on a computer monitor like 6 inches away from my face, and I was struggling to read a lot of this stuff. So I understand that with the remaster, they're going to be addressing the font issue, which makes me happy. Oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I wanted to like this so bad. I played it for 10 hours thinking, okay, this is still the beginning of the game and it's not fun. And then I played it for probably another 10 hours thinking, okay, I just gotta wait for it to click. But man, it takes like so long to kill the little rabbit enemies. And you're just killing these little rabbit enemies. And everything just takes so long in this game. I love the aesthetic. I love the sort of cartoon aesthetic that they went with. I even like the gameplay. It just takes too long. It takes too long to get anything done in that game. I'm sorry, Xenoblade. I wanted to love you. Xenoblade 2, I wanted to love you. Yeah, I bought this also. I played this on PC, of course, not when it came out, but when I got a decent enough rig to run it during my brief PC gaming phase in 2012. 2012, 2013, 2014, I was playing PC gaming a lot. I did play this on the PS2 as a kid, and that was my original experience of this game. And people love to dunk on it for not being optimal, but I thought it was perfectly enjoyable then. I started a new game of it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago down here in the basement before I had kids, and I thought it was perfectly enjoyable then too, but I didn't get too far into it, but I got to I got past the first mission, and I went to UNATCO, and then I went to the next mission, Hell's Kitchen. I was in Hell's Kitchen for this game. Human Revolution, man, I've played this game a million times. I love it more every time. It's so good. The story's so good. Read the novels. The novels are so good. Got the graphic novel. Haven't read it. Want to someday. I got this the day it came out. I played it nonstop. It was the only thing I played for several months. And I played it again a couple years ago. I think it ages perfectly well. It's so much fun, and I love it. I was hoping to get the director's cut, so I went and I bought the director's cut from GameStop online, and they did not ship me the director's cut. They just shipped me another one of these. So I don't know how to get the director's cut. I did play the director's cut on PC, but I want to get the director's cut on PS3. Mankind Divided. I don't have anything to say about this one that hasn't already been said. It was a lot of fun. The story was really good, but it was a cliffhanger, and it didn't have a Deus Ex plot twist. Also, do you ever find out who's stalking you? You ever find out who's stalking you throughout this game? When you find, like, the pictures of Adam Jensen around, like, this guy's apartment, do you ever find out who was taking those? It's unclear. Oh man, Bioshock. Yeah, I played Bioshock on 360. I borrowed it from my gamer friend who bought me Dark Souls and Mass Effect. Ended up buying it for myself on PS3 some years later, of course. I didn't understand how taking the pictures of the enemies worked at first. So my entire first time through the game, I did not take a single picture of an enemy, and I did not find it very enjoyable. When I went back and tried it again, I was like, oh, you take pictures of the enemies, and it makes them easier to kill. I would have appreciated some kind of a tip, but I was just being a dummy. Bioshock 2. So I got this new on release in college. I went down there, and it was one of the cooks that I work with. He was down there. He's like, oh man, I didn't know you like to play games. I was like, man, I love playing video games. I'm here to get Bioshock 2 on midnight release. That was that. I don't remember much about this game. You're Rosie the Riveter. Use the drill. I don't remember. There was a multiplayer component. Something. Man. Alright, so I got this. I haven't played it. I installed it. I haven't played it. But dude, Bioshock Infinite. This is the only game that I've ever gotten all the trophies twice. Because I played it on PC a million times. And I got all the achievements and all the DLC. And then I played it on PS3 again, years later. And I got all the achievements and all the trophies and all the DLC over and over again. I've revisited so many times, and I find it more and more enjoyable every time. I know that it's like the black sheep of the trilogy for a multitude of reasons. But I don't care. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I like it so much. Crow Hand. I shoot murderer crows at you all the time. System Shock. I played this over the summer, and it was like a trial by fire, right? I was utilizing the save scum. I don't know how you can get through this game without save scumming, because I think the regeneration points really interrupts the flow of the game, right? It just increases the amount of backtrack you have to do when you can just do a quick save, right? Right before you enter a room, do a quick save. Like, what's the harm in that? But it's good. I'd love to come back and try it on ultra mode. Maybe next year I'll try it on ultra hard mode. Damn, Midnight Suns. I played this over the fall. I played it for a couple months. I really enjoyed it. That was all. I love Venom, right? My little boy loves Spider-Man and Venom. He's like, be Venom. Can you pick Venom? Okay, pick Venom and Spider-Man. Because you get to pick your team before every unit. He's like, or get to pick your team before every mission. He's like, I think you should pick Venom and Spider-Man. Okay. This game came out a million years ago, and I've always wanted to play it, and I bought it online because I could never find it in person. So I bought it on GameStop online and redeemed a whole bunch of points. I got it for free. But I haven't started it yet, so I don't know, maybe I'm a hypocrite. Jedi Fallen Order. This always reminds me of the time that I got laid off from my first good job, and it was devastating, and my wife bought me this to help me cope. And it did, and then I got a better job, and maybe it was because I was playing Jedi Fallen Order for a couple weeks. We have some, like, random... We're going to get to Final Fantasy here in a second, but here's, like, some random RPGs. I got this when it originally came out, Aiden Chronicles for Nintendo 64. I got this when it originally came out. I used my lawnmower money to buy it. So I went and repurchased it a couple years ago when I saw it at the Exchange, the secondhand store that I like to go to a lot. I'll probably pay the Etsy guy to print another manual for this one, but this is like the most granular game that I've ever played. It's like so arcane and so obtuse. I played it. I started it many times as a kid, and I would beat the mountain, and I would beat the big orc on the mountain. And then I would get to the port city, and I never got past the port city. And I would look at walkthroughs, and it would indicate that that was like a third of the way through the game. So when I was like 11 or 12, I got a third of the way through this game many times. I remember you would dump Abrakan and then pick up like that big dumb guard for some reason. But I always wanted to keep Abrakan because he was cool and he had a false eye. Hybrid Heaven. This always reminds me. So I played this briefly. I of course I had it reprinted. This is plastics, not the original packaging. I rented it. I was like, Mom, can we rent Hybrid Heaven? It looks so cool. I had no idea what was going on. I'd never played a turn-based RPG before, but it was a turn-based WWF wrestling simulator. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't enjoy it at all. I bought this a couple years ago, and I didn't enjoy it at all again. So maybe third time's the charm for that one. Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon, man, you gotta get this one. You gotta play this one. Do whatever you can to get a hold of this one and play it. It's so special. It's so special to me. It's so goofy. It's like Zelda. It's basically a Zelda clone, but the humor is on point. The aesthetic is on point. The gameplay is on point. It's so good. It's so good in so many ways. Incredible. Golden Sun, really good story. I remember a lot about the story, even though I only played it once, 25 years ago. You have to go to the lighthouses, and then your best friend ends up being a bad guy, and it's a tragedy. Got the sequel 10 years after it came out. Started it, never beat it. Got the sequel to that one, never even started it, but maybe I will, I don't know, in retirement or something. I remember this was a meme game. Everybody was like, "Oh man, remember Moss of the Demon Blade is like one of these niche Japanese side scroller action RPGs." I played it for a couple hours one weekend after college. I didn't get it. I'm sorry, I didn't get it. I still have it for some reason. Rogue Galaxy, I also didn't get it. It didn't click for me. I think it was weird because the fun part of it clicked, but like the build part of it didn't click. The build of Rogue Galaxy did not click for me. So maybe I'll try it again now that I'm older and wiser. Mega Man. Oh man, Mega Man. I'm a big Mega Man fan. I have a ton of Mega Man games, but of course they're not on the floor with me because they're mostly not RPGs. But I was thrilled to see this one got announced because I have all the other collections on Nintendo Switch too. Um, I played this in the month leading up to Tears of the Kingdom, right? Tears of the Kingdom, which is epic. I mean, I gotta talk about Tears of the Kingdom again real quick. Tears of the Kingdom, I was so hyped for, and my my wife was pregnant with our little girl, and then uh, she delivered, and it was a really hard recovery. So, Tears of the Kingdom, playing Tears of the Kingdom always reminds me of taking care of my little girl and my wife and my kid all at the same time. I don't even know how I was playing Tears of the Kingdom or Mega Man Battle Network in that time period. Or no, hang on a second. Tears of the Kingdom came out first, and then my little girl came. So I was playing Tears of the Kingdom first, and then the little girl came. And then I spent a lot of time taking care of them for several weeks. But that's what this always reminds me of. Tears of the Kingdom always reminds me of my little girl and my poor wife's recovery from that delivery. And here's the big one over here, Final Fantasy. Holy smokes. Let's start a new segment. Yeah, Final Fantasy. This is the big one. I don't quite mark time through my entire life with Final Fantasy the same way I can with Zelda. Um, but I don't know. I guess I'm 36, so the difference is only a couple of years when I was growing up. Uh, but right? I'm 36. I was born in 1988, so the first Final Fantasy that a lot of my friends were getting into was seven. Was seven. And I didn't play it until I was 15, so of course it was an old pre-owned game at that time. This was 2002 or 2003 when I bought it. Actually, I might have the receipt. No, that was before I started saving all my receipts like a madman. Or was it? Let me look in here. Oh my gosh, there it is. So, okay, when did I buy Final Fantasy VII? Well, 2004. So, June. This must have been like the first day that school let out in 2004 because I remember I was playing it that summer. Oh man, Jonah with the long hair. Jonah with the long hair at GameStop. If you ever see this, I remember you. You were so cool. Hope you're doing well, Jonah with the long hair at GameStop. But yeah, I must have bought this like on the last day of school or the first day of summer vacation, and I played it like for a long time that summer. Um, I was already pretty well versed in Pokemon at that time, so I was already into turn-based RPGs. But that wasn't the first time, right? All my friends were into had gotten into this game and were talking about it. But my first exposure to it, I went over to my friend's house when it was new, and his sister's boyfriend was there on the PlayStation 1, and it was this game. And I'm like, why can't you just slash the guys? Like, well, you got to take turns, and that's how it works. I'm like, man, what's this game called? Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy sucks. I'm never going to play that game. But, I mean, I was like 7 or 8 years old, so, oh, whatever. You get older, I guess. Uh, Dirge of Cerberus, right? I played Dirge of Cerberus. I ordered it online because I never saw it in real life. And I thought it aged very poorly. It had insane difficulty spikes. But I beat it. I was playing it, and then I beat it the day before Christmas, and I beat it right after I was done putting together lots of children's Christmas presents. And then I went and I played the remake. So the final boss of this game is actually the final boss of the guy in the remake DLC, and I didn't know that, so I ended up fighting the same guy as an end boss in the span of about 2 days because I went back and I played the remake Intergrade DLC. So that was a trip. Vice, you play Vice. I played Vice as a final boss in 2 different games twice in about 2 days. That was a trip. That was such a weird thing. I did not plan it that way. I did not know that was going to happen. Crisis Core Final Fantasy Reunion. This is where my little boy, he was 2 years old when I was playing this one. This is where he first started to like Final Fantasy, and he started to say da 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 da. And to this day, when he does something good, he'll say da 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 da. When he builds a Lego, he says da 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 da. The remake, man, there's a video of one of the guys, I think for GameSpot or Giant Bomb or something. And when they're announcing this game at E3 that year, I watched it live. It was at my bank job, and I had days off in the middle of the week. So I was watching E3 live that year. And like the energy of the grown man standing on the stool like an animal. Well, that was my energy, because if you're too young or too old, you don't know what it was like to play Final Fantasy VII and have it memed into your culture relentlessly for years. And then to go to the PlayStation 3 tech demo, and it's Cloud in like incredible visual fidelity. You're like, oh man, they're going to remake Final Fantasy VII. And then it never happens. I mean, there was 10 years between the tech demo and the announcement of this game, and there was another 5 years before it came out, or maybe 4 years. But the time span and the gravitas behind Final Fantasy VII Remake is like one of the defining things of gamers of my generation. They're just my culture's generation is like inextricably tied up with Final Fantasy VII Remake. What do you have? Rebirth. I got the limited edition Rebirth. Loved it. Played it for a zillion hours. Advent Children. I held all my friends captive. I was like, I didn't have a Blu-ray player in whatever 2006 or whatever. So I held all my friends captive. The one who had a Blu-ray player and a PS3. I was like, we have to watch Advent Children. I'm going to go rent it at Blockbuster. So we watched Advent Children at Blockbuster, and nobody knew what was going on except for me, and even I didn't really know what was going on. But it was cool. That's what I always think about. I went back to try to watch this again over Christmas, and I started it, but I didn't really get into it. Oh man, the Anniversary Collection. So I've been wanting to play the Pixel remasters for a long time, and then I heard about the website Play Asia, and Play Asia does these imports, and they have a ton of imports like this. So yeah, I paid $80 or whatever to have this physical, and it means a lot to me to have these all physical. So I ended up playing 1 and 5. 1 for the first time, 5 for the second time. I love Final Fantasy V, man. I started 2 over Thanksgiving break, and I didn't make much progress into it, but I'll come back to it. 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls. I've had this for a long time. I was trying to play it. This is a reprint, not a original cardboard packaging. Do I have the box? No, I don't have the instruction booklet, but I was trying to play this on the toilet for a long time, and I couldn't make any progress in Final Fantasy 1 on the toilet, so I gave it up. But I did end up beating it on this one, a better version on this one, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 3. I remember this was such an oddball for it to be released when we were... Wait, is this an original packaging? Yeah, this one's original. This is original packaging. Look at that. Original packaging, I bought it. Secondhand. But this is such an oddball to be released, I remember it. Like, peak JRPG hype. I was in high school, and they're like, now announcing Final Fantasy 3, 4, Nintendo DS. And I passed on it. Hard pass for me for a long time. I did go back and play it during my unemployment summer. So it reminds me of that part of my life. Chrono Cross, I have a friend who recommends it highly. Never got around to it. Sorry, Paul. Oh boy, so 4. So I played Final Fantasy 4. This reminds me, junior year, I was like intoxicated with Halo and stuff, and I just wanted to play something slower in the comfort of my bedroom without having to like spaz out. in multiplayer shooters, and that was Final Fantasy IV. The entire planet recommends Chrono Trigger. I'm sorry, I never played it. Never even started it. No, that's not true. I did start it on. Oh yeah, the Chrono Trigger over there on Nintendo DS. Right there. I started it, but I didn't even get far enough to save. I created my character and I didn't save it. Sorry, didn't get around to it. So the anthology here, I played this. This is the first time I played 5, and I really, really enjoyed 5. That's why I went back and played 5 on the Pixel Remaster just over this past summer. So 5, I played my freshman year of college when I was absolutely dead set on being alone and miserable because I didn't want to go drink or anything, and everybody wanted to go drink, and I was, whatever, a whole bunch of reasons. 8, so funny story about this one. Senior year of college, I had this for years. Years and years and years I'd had this. Senior year of college, I go back home, and I burn through it over Christmas break. I buy my PS2 brand new from Best Buy in January of 2011. I buy a brand new PS2 at Best Buy. And mostly just to play this, but also to play Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. But also to finish this. Somehow, because of the level scaling, I made it unbeatable, and I was at that final boss battle where you fight the giant mega monster and then the supreme sorceress. And I was just hammering it at it for like a week, and I could never beat him. So I restarted it, and I did some research on how the level scaling works, and then it was a breeze. But I breezed through it the first time. I don't know how I did it. I breezed through this game the first time, and then got to an unbeatable final boss. I don't know how I did it. But the second time, I breezed through it, and then I breezed through the end boss, too. So, I don't know. Watch out. If you never played Final Fantasy VIII, watch out for that one. Everybody likes Triple Triad. I don't like Triple Triad. I think it's lame. I think it's frustrating. I played this. I didn't play this version of it. I played it on PS3 eShop before I had taken all my junk. So I got married, brought the PS3 and all my game systems into our rental home. But I hadn't brought all my stuff from home yet with me. So I played the version of this on PS3. I like it. I don't get the hype, but I enjoyed it. Oh, here we got some rain. So we played this as a couple, married couple playing Super Mario RPG, because we have the original. Actually, yeah, I have the original Super Mario RPG back there. That was hers. But we played this remake as a couple. Lots of fun. Kind of frustrating. Really, really some arcane stuff going on there. We're about ready to roll credits on Mario and Luigi Brothership right now. This game is a little bit too long for its own good, but it is a lot of fun and it's very charming. I'd like to play this, I don't know, someday. I never played it on GameCube, never played the original. Color Splash Wii U, sealed for some reason. Probably never going to play it. If I do play it, I'll probably go find one that isn't sealed. I'm not really a sealed collector kind of a person. Like, obviously, all the greatest hits versions, these things are all good enough for me. But if I do have this thing sealed, I will appreciate it sealed, especially since Wii U games are mostly so cheap now for the time being. Man, here's one of the goats. Final Fantasy X. Look at this. Look at this. So I have Final Fantasy X written in pen here because this is a reprint. This label is a reprint. It originally said Casper. Actually, I might still have that. Yeah, I saved it. So this was the original label. For 15 years, I walked around with Casper. Used PlayStation 2 Casper, but it was actually Final Fantasy X. So I think I paid $9.99 for Casper on PS2. But I knew I was getting Final Fantasy X. I don't remember how that worked out. But anyway, yeah, I've had this one for a long time. Here's all my Blitzball notes. I got Blitzball notes from my friend who's crazy about Blitzball. Same friend who bought me Dark Souls for Christmas. I'd go over to his house and he'd just be crushing Blitzball and whatever. We'd hang out and play video games all the time. He was crazy about Final Fantasy X, crazy about Blitzball. But for years I watched Final Fantasy X, and I just knew so much about it just because he played it so much. I bought it on Nintendo Switch, and I never touched it because then I bought it on PS4, and I actually am playing it on PS4. I've had an ongoing save file with it for a long time, which is crazy. It's a crazy end game with to level up and build your gear to fight penance and the Dark Aeons and stuff. So I rolled credits on it, I don't know, 2 months ago. But the end game is like crazy. It's crazy. Crazy prep, so I'm just taking it slow, not burning out on it. Fire it up every other week and get some dark matter. Oh, look at this. So this is my number 2 goat. So next to Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which is my number 1 goat, Final Fantasy 12 is my number 2 goat. And I remember when the screenshots for this were dropping in EGM back in the day, and I'm like, man, look at that. Look at how clean and crisp it is, and unmatched this. That like it ages very well. Of course, I played Zodiac Age on Nintendo Switch and beat Yazmat and did the whole thing about a year ago at this time. I mean, it took me months, but last winter I was playing it. So partially I remember Final Fantasy 12 because we bought it for my friend who told me about the pink alligator monsters at work one day. Because this came out when we were juniors or seniors in high school. I ended up playing it and beating it and enjoying the whole story. This is my original copy from back then. If I see the Steelbook out, I'll probably buy the Steelbook. Oh, look, there's all my notes. There's all my handwritten notes from, 2006. Do I have my receipt in here? No, I have my receipt. I must have bought it with something else, too. Man, love that game. I know it's divisive, but man, do I love Final Fantasy 12. The Zodiac Age always reminds me of this crazy work project I undertook. So last year I volunteered for what I thought was going to be a simple project, and it ended up being this crazy, miserable thing that took 8 months. But I was playing Zodiac Age in the evenings and in the mornings. So Zodiac Age always reminds me of that. I did find the 6th Steelbook at the exchange for $30. Look at that. So being a huge fan of Final Fantasy 12, I had to have it. Revenant Wings I bought online. I'd never seen it in real life in any meaningful capacity recently, so I did buy this online. I'd love to go back and play it, but it's another remaster jitter thing where as soon as I commit to playing Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings, they're gonna have a remaster of it or something. Man, and 12 was so cool too because I was really ramping up on Final Fantasy 7 and 4 and everything at that time, and 11, the MMO. I didn't want to play an MMO, and I was 15, and it was like $15 a month. That's a lot of money when you're not making any money as a high school kid. So I was reading about my life in Vana'diel in GMR magazine every month, thinking about how cool it would be to play this MMO RPG. Oh, and then 12 comes out. It's like finally an epic Final Fantasy game, single player that I can buy one time and afford. And then it was. It took me a couple months to get around to playing it, but I did end up enjoying it a lot. I did. I got this just a couple weeks ago for $20. These Brady these things have such cool art in them, and an actual the resources and stuff, like the concordance of the merchants and everything like that. It's just nice to not have to look everything up a million different times, have a million different browser windows open and just have a guide in your lap. I do miss the days of having player's guides for games like this. Everything's online, right? Everything's online now. All right, here's an unpopular opinion. 13 is one of the greatest. It felt like a real step back after the masterpiece that is the Gambit system in Final Fantasy 12. But 13, it would be leagues ahead if only you could set priorities. Like, all I want to do is cast haste before protect, and like cast, like Asuna before a cure and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. I played it. So unlike Final Fantasy VIII, which I played 1.99 times, I played Final Fantasy 12 two times. Once to see credits in 2012 when I was working at Walmart after college and being miserable. I was playing 13 and Dark Souls 2, alternating. So 13 always reminds me of that part of my life. So, and then speaking of my kids, the same way Tears of the Kingdom reminds me of my little girl when I see it on the shelf. 13 too reminds me of my little boy, because I burned through 13 over the course of about 4 months, and then I fired up 13.2, and when I was taking care of my little boy in the middle of the night, he was very grumpy. He was a very, very grumpy little newborn, so I would take him downstairs and allow my poor wife to sleep a little bit. And I was just sitting in the couch, rocking him, and playing Final Fantasy 13 and 13.2. Now, I ended up getting distracted. I think life just got in the way, or maybe something new came out. What came out in 2021 that was huge? I don't remember. I'll have to think about that. But I think something huge came out, and it pulled me away from 13.2, and it was on the PS3, so I had to switch the input and everything. But then I went out and bought Lightning Returns right after that, because I wanted to get the DLC for these games, because there was the whole big scare about PlayStation Network store going down for their online shop. So I went and I bought not all the DLC, but all the DLC and all the PSN games that I wanted, and a lot of the DLC for games like this that I thought I'd be interested in if I ever got around to them. This is another set of remake jitters. I don't know if I'll ever go back and play 13.2, because you know that they're going to come out with a remaster of it on PS3 or something one of these days. Just like Metal Gear Solid 4, right? All right, Final Fantasy 15. Here's another unpopular take. This game is very good. I always like the reluctant king, right? You're sort of born a king. And even if you want to not be a king, you have to be a king. You're born to be a king. Reluctant king, reluctant prince is sort of an underappreciated trope, and I love it. I love the chill game. I love being able to, enjoy a sip of a beverage or take a bite of a sandwich, take a sip of coffee or something while you're letting Ignis drive around. It's a unique vibe. It was very brave what they did, and I thought they really pulled it off. It reminds me of... I bought this game on the cheap. I didn't play this new when it came out. But I was playing it when we got married. And I played we got married, and then shortly after we got married, I played the final boss. You do the big time skip, and Noctis grows facial hair. You do the big time stamp, the big time skip with all your bros. And I was like, oh man, I just had my bachelor party with all my bros. Of course, we had a wholesome bachelor party because we're all good Christian boys, but I was like, oh man, we just had the last hurrah with me and my boys in real life. My real life homies. And then I went and we had the last hurrah with Noctis and his homies, and it always reminds me of that, because the timing of that, as it corresponds to my actual life, was pretty intense and emotional. And sure enough, we, almost 10 years later, we barely seen each other. We got married. My friend got married in 2012, and then my other friend got married in 2016. I got married in 2017. And then just life takes us all in different directions. And we had our last hurrah there, Smash Brothers all-nighter, and then being crazy in the hotel pool. That's how we did it. Oh boy. All right, Final Fantasy 16, another unpopular opinion. I love this game. This is like the action game I always wanted to play. I spent my whole life wanting to play a game like Final Fantasy 16. Just an action, fantasy, magic game that is really smooth to play. That's all it is. That's all I ever wanted to play in my entire life. And here it is, and it delivered perfectly. Oh, there's my 13 guide, of course. I like 13 a lot. But this one, man, see, oh, it's not an RPG. I get it. I get it. It really strains credulity of RPG in the modern day, but it strains definition of RPG in the modern day, but it's a lot of fun, and I don't care. You're going to enjoy it. What, Type 0? This came out before I had a PS4. I didn't want to buy it on PS3 because I want to buy it on PS4. I bought it like a couple weeks ago just to have it in case I ever want to play it. Same thing with this one. Stranger of Paradise. This is big, goofy Koei Tecmo. Did Koei Tecmo develop this? Yeah, they did. Big, goofy, stupid Koei Tecmo action. I played a lot of this. It was fun. I don't regret it. Chaos. All the memes are true. It's all the meme ability of it, and then some. Theater Rhythm. I enjoyed this a lot. I played it a lot, and I enjoyed it a lot. I bought it online because I never saw it in real life. But here it is. Big fun. So that's it. So that was like 300 RPGs, and a lot of them have life stories attached to them, which is crazy, which is weird. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games left over too. Like I have all my Resident Evils and all my Mario games and everything that clearly aren't RPGs. But this isn't a video for the Resident Evil and Mario groups. This is a video for the RPG group. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed it. If you're still here, thanks for watching. Bye.